Well, hello there. This is Yudron from Ngakchang Gatsal, the Happy Garden of Practitioners in Oakland, California. Welcome. Today, I'm going to tell you a story. So I don't know if you've heard this one before. Um, a, a couple had owned some land up in the foothills of the Sierra Mountains. And they'd owned it for a few years, and they used to always go out for walks on a trail through their property and probably out to explore, right? And they did this together. It sounds sweet. Quite often, so hundreds of times over this few years. And then, and they'd noticed some kind of weird stuff. There was a rock that looked kind of out of place on the top of this ridge, and there was looked like it had been a bucket, like a paint bucket kind of thing, or a work bucket, on hanging from a branch, and the tree had grown all around it. So there was some strange things in the environment. But one day they were walking by, and there was a little glint or something from a place on the ground, and they brushed the leaves away, and there was a rusted bucket there, and covered like a paint bucket, and like a can or paint bucket. And they thought, well, that's interesting. So the husband used a wood plank to pry it out of there. And then it was kind of falling apart, but they were able to get it almost all the way to the house before part of it broke open. They saw inside something gold. And this is a true story. It's totally documented. Whoa. And furthermore, they go inside and they open it up, and it's full of, I kid you not, gold coins, 19th century gold coins from the mid 19th century through the late 19th century. And well, that was pretty shocking, right? So they go back out there, obviously, and they get a shovel and they dig around. They find another bucket a few feet from there, and then more gold coins. And then they dig from further and they find another bucket. It goes on like this, and they find 8 buckets filled with gold coins. And they thought, uh-oh, we better hide this. So what they did, they put it in a cooler, and they dug a hole and they buried it again. Then they put a wood pile on top of it so nobody would find it, because they didn't want anybody to steal it, right? And then they brought like 1 or 2 coins, and they did some research, and it wasn't just any gold coins. It was gold coins that were like mint condition, the finest gold coins left from that period, which now that I'm old, I think, well, it wasn't that long ago, really, in the big scheme of things. But still, those coins, there are some of them, they say each one could be worth $1 million. So, and they had 1,400 coins. Obviously, they weren't all of that kind of quality and value. But so this became known as the Saddle Ridge Hoard in California, the biggest treasure discovery, accidental, of all time. So why the heck am I talking about this on a Buddhist channel? Well, because classically, this metaphor of having a treasure that you don't even know existed is used to talk about our precious human life. We go about our lives never thinking about the fact that we could have been born as a termite. We could have been born as in Buddhism, we see ghosts as another life form. We could have been born as a ghost, hungry and thirsty and lonely and so forth. We could have been born as in hell, a hellish existence. Who knows what that's really like, but people have experiences where they... Did you ever read Sam Berscholtz's book? It's big and expensive, and maybe there's a more, at least less expensive way to do it now. So Sam Berscholtz, who run Shambhala Publishing, had an near-death or actual death experience where he had a heart attack, and wasn't alive for a little bit. And his experience of that inside of him was that a guide took him to a hell and showed him around like on a guided tour. And he never believed in that kind of thing before, that it felt totally real to him in that experience, So there's a lot of things that come up from that, like who is it that's experiencing that? If presumably there was no brain function going on, or minimal brain function, how are cognitive processes going on to have like a dreamlike or hallucination kind of experience? So that's an all the time question about near-death experiences and so forth. But on a bigger level, whether it's literal or figurative, people can have hellish existences. We know this. We can just look at life for some people in Yemen right now, for example, or really, places where there's perennial war. I think maybe Afghanistan might be having a break right now, but they always have wars going on, for example. And so we could be in a situation where we were just trying to survive. We didn't have any time to think about big questions, important things. Or we could be born with a really diminished intellectual capacity, have developmental delays. And no disrespect for those people, but it's very difficult if you don't have higher cognitive functioning to reflect on spiritual teachings, right? But instead, here we are. We have the leisure to watch an old woman on YouTube, which is certainly not on the top of anybody's list of great ways to spend a Monday night. But we have the leisure to do that and then go and watch whatever, Netflix or whatever. By virtue of being here, you're characterized by that kind of leisure. So Buddhism is weird because so many ways we think about things are not about, you don't say, in this society, you don't say, oh, wow, she's got a lot of leisure. We say, well, she works really hard. That's the value, the Puritan value, if you share that. Well, this is obviously a mix of many different cultural backgrounds, but my people, the Brits who came here in the 19th century or the 18th century, some of them, it was definitely industry, and personal industry was the value, and among other things. So Buddhism has this value of, you have to, having free time is a sign of past virtue. So that in a past life, you had the accumulated merit, they call it, or positive momentum to have a life where you could have this kind of opportunity. And not only that, but you have access to the teachings of the Buddha, which are unparalleled in this world. No sectarianism there. It's just, of course, what you're going to say about your spiritual path. It's unparalleled in the world, too. I'm going to say about mine is, very best. And so we can contemplate with our adequate mind. Mine's getting a little less adequate as I get older. We can practice meditation. We can cultivate compassion and wisdom. And who, out of the billions and billions of organisms on this planet, how many organisms can do that? A very small, as far as we know, percentage of humans. If there's dolphins out there practicing Dharma, go dolphins. But we are not aware of that. So this is what it's like. The example in the classical Buddhist literature was like, there was a beggar sleeping. He'd always sleep in the same place, huddled up with some papers to keep warm. And then after he died, they were cleaning out that place, and they discovered underneath where he was, when they brushed the dirt away, there was a big block of gold. And all the time through his whole life, he never knew that gold was there. So then on another level, if we go to the next level, and I want, if you're coming here because you are one of the members of that couple or family that found this money. I'd love to talk to you. I don't want your money. I just love to talk to you about your experience, because that's a material boon that few people in this world will ever experience, right? Um, you could say Jeff Bezos may have more money and, you know, all that, but he had to do some work for that, and these people had the fortune to find it. Interestingly, an interview with the anonymous woman said, I feel it was my karma to discover that treasure. And she also said, it was in my astrological chart. So I can't tell you, I spend a lot of time up in the Sierra foothills. This is where this gold country, right? So somebody obviously made a fortune in gold country, and then had it made into coins or bought coins with it, and then buried their treasure so nobody would find it, and obviously died or something before they could retrieve the money. So that's another kind of fortune, right? But what I'd like to know is, did that money, this is 2013 that this happened, did that really lead to lasting happiness? Of course, it would wipe out all your student loans. It would hopefully enable you to give to charity all you wanted to, and repair your house. They sold most of the coins, understandably, and all kinds of great things. To be out of debt. Most of us are in debt, right? So to be out of debt and not relief from that stress. Maybe they quit their jobs. Maybe they didn't. Did it lead to lasting happiness, though? It was think of the happiest day in your entire life so far. Mine was my wedding day. But that relationship has long since led to divorce. So many years. Now I barely, she barely remembers me, since it's Pride Month. I'll say she. And that's of course a lie. I'm sure she remembers me. But what I'm saying is, it was something that seemed to be a life-altering and permanent event. It's not permanent. We all want to be happy, but these kind of boons, even the greatest boon imaginable, of the greatest treasure ever found in the North America, it leads only to temporary happiness. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, boon finders, but it helps, of course. It makes your life easier, but then all the other problems in life take precedent. In fact, I found myself that I make up problems. This was a big revelation to me. I'd gone all the way through, I don't know, 3-year retreat plus like a year and a half of personal retreats. And then one day I dawned on me that I was anxious in the retreat where I was doing absolutely nothing. And I was making up some dumb reason to be anxious, even when I had the life of Ryan. I don't even know what the life of Ryan really is. Do you? I was all set, in this, but in your mind, you carry it with you. You carry it with you into retreat. You carry it with you after you get $100 million treasure trove, right? You're still you after that. And what we need to do is get to the bottom of this you idea, this I idea, and do some deconstructing and find what is lasting. What really leads to lasting happiness, to lasting peace? This you can find through the path of Buddhist practice. Yes, you have to do some cognitive exploration. You have to turn your mind to the Dharma, as they say in Buddhist language. You have to change your values so you value this treasure trove, this human life inside this body. In the Buddhist framework, at least in Tibet, I think in India also, this is chitta, or tuk. This is where the mind is. This is where the mind of enlightenment is. And this is like a office for the mind. The real mind is down here. So if we can find how to access that mind in our heart, that pristine consciousness, and really abide there rather than all our in the brain, then lasting happiness can be ours. It takes a long time. I can't say I'm there, but way, way better than I was almost 30 years ago when I started. I can't tell you how much more even I am, um, just in every way. Life is much, much happier, and we don't need to aim for merely worldly happiness, like getting a, oh, you're going to pray for a Mercedes, or to get that person who was bad to us. No, that's not really the path to lasting happiness. So please, now that the pandemic is letting up in the United States, if you're watching me from the U.S., I urge you to, as the Dharma centers reopen, Dharma means truth, spiritual teaching, so it's a general term for the Indian wisdom traditions. But Buddha Dharma is the actual technical term for our Buddhist traditions. So I really would, if you're in an area where they have Buddhist centers or monasteries, good teachers, and always check them out, really vet them carefully because you know how the world is. Go personally in your body when they open up again. And there's nothing like, the touch, the smell, the being in the space, supportive space with other practitioners. If you don't like group dynamics, just go do your practice and leave. You don't need to suddenly become a volunteer and run the whole Dharma Center and all this stuff. You can if you want. All right, so please get out, and as soon as they open up, and they probably will, a lot of them probably will be in July, August, do a field trip. They want to meet you, most of them. If they don't, then it's not the right place for you, and explore the Buddha Dharma in your area or as close to your area as you can get. There's a lot of rural areas with Dharma centers. You'd be surprised. Just Google Buddhist centers and your state or area. And then check out those teachers online and see if there's, Google them, the head of the center, and see how their reputation is. And if it's good or if there's nothing there, go meet them. All right? So it's been, I'm going to wrap this up. Nobody's chatting in the chat box, so I'm going to wrap this up for today. And I hope you can find your own Saddle Creek Hoard in your heart this week. Bye-bye.